Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mondays at Mayflower. My name is Julia Brown. I am the music director and organist here at Mayflower. This is our third week in our fall series, and we're thrilled to be hosting guitarist David Rogers. Although he's originally from Detroit, he's lived in Oregon for many years. In fact, that's where we met about 25 years ago when I moved to Eugene, Oregon. We've played concerts together, and he's back in Michigan. He was in Detroit this past week, and this coming Wednesday, he's performing an extended version of tonight's concert in Dearborn at the Henry Ford Estate. So if you're interested, or if you know people on that side of the state who would like to go, you can get more information from David during our reception after the concert. So I hope you'll stay and greet him and greet each other. His bio is in the program, so I won't say more, but he's brought to us an intriguing program of the Arabian influences in Spanish music, and he has two instruments with him, a guitar and a vihuela, which I hope he will explain to us what it is. I think many of us have no clue. All I know, it's a guitar-like instrument, so we'll find out more soon. I invite you, if you got the brochure, you can get more information on how to support our series and live music here. If you would like to be on our mailing list and receive information on upcoming events, please write your name down as you exit. There's also an offering basket. We're so glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy tonight's concert. And would you join me in welcoming David Rogers?
I played was a Fantasia by Luis Milan. A Fantasia is a piece from the early 16th century that was composed for an instrument, not an arrangement of a dance or a song or a choir piece. And then the last two pieces I played are from the Sephardic repertoire. The Sephardic people were Jewish people living in Spain by the late 15th, early 16th century. They had been there for a long time. And I played The Rose Blooms and When King Nimrod. What I've been aiming to do with this program is portray music in the late 15th, early 16th century in Spain. If you can imagine, you're walking down the street and you're hearing the music from the Jewish family that your next door neighbor's with, and then you walk a little further and you're hearing the music that your Islamic North African neighbors are listening to, or your Catholic Christian family, further down the road or something. Yeah. So onward. Those are two pieces by Luis Milan. Milan lived, from about 1500 to 1565. He was a court entertainer and musician in Valencia, in the south of Spain. Besides a large body of music that was printed, he also published a book on court etiquette and also a book on card games. So he's really a court entertainer. He's an interesting figure because his music really doesn't reflect a lot of what else was going on in Spain in the more connected parts of the country, like Madrid and the capital and Valladolid. And his music seems to be kind of that bridge between the North African Arabic music and the Christian communities. about this instrument. It's a vihuela, which in Italian it's the same word as viola, which means basically general stringed instrument. This instrument started also in Valencia, a few decades before this era, the late 15th, early 16th century. In the mid 15th century, maybe a generation before, musicians, string players were wanting to play arrangements of choir music, essentially, and they wanted an instrument that could mimic the human voice, a human choir, so that you could have a lower tone and a higher tone, like bass, tenor, soprano, alto. And the indigenous European instruments of the time, the stringed instruments were carved out of a single block of wood, the sounding board. So they tended to be kind of high trebly instruments, and you really couldn't get that lower end. Even the lute and the Arabic oud, which was ubiquitous throughout Europe, at this time it was mainly a melody, a higher pitched melody instrument, and the later lute and the vihuela kind of developed at the same time, developing that lower range and that possibility of polyphony. So these are some pavans. I always make the point with Renaissance dances, the galliards, the fast dances in three, were kind of the show off kinds of dances, and the pavans were kind of at the wedding. These were the dances that the grandparents could do, kind of, or me, but yeah. musician who is quite a bit better connected, I would say, than Luis Milan. Alonso Mudara, during his 20s, when he was younger, was a musician for Charles V, the emperor, the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Spain and most of Europe at that time. Later on, he spent most of his career as the music director of the Seville Cathedral, and he has a lot of surviving music for vihuela and vihuela and voice. This particular piece, Fantasia in the style of the harp player Ludovico, is just that. No one really knows who the harp player Ludovico was exactly, but you'll notice a lot of very harp-like figurations in the piece. These next four pieces are from the Maghreb tradition. The Maghreb culture stretches from Egypt, doesn't include Egypt, but from Egypt west to Morocco and into the Sahel, the Mali area. And originally into southern Spain in what was called the Andalusian part of Spain, the Arabic part of Spain. It is an interesting time in Spain at that time. You can't really, pre-Inquisition, you can't really say that everyone lived totally in peace, but religious affiliation really wasn't a big deal. Greed and, coveting land and things like that were kind of a bigger deal than any kind of religious things. So these four pieces are in the Andalusian tradition that finally when the North Africans were kind of pushed to leave Spain, they brought this music with them. fact that I almost forgot to mention about the vihuela is in Valencia, in the south of Spain, pretty obscure little place. When they were developing the vihuela, they had two types. One was the vihuela de mano, of the hand, that I'm playing, and the other was the vihuela d'arco, or the bowed vihuela. So it was essentially the same instrument, but it had a bowed, kind of a semicircular bridge that you could bow. So I find it very interesting that in this obscure little place in southern Spain, our modern strings were invented. The orchid, the bowed version became our cellos and viola da gamba and violas, and the mono became our guitar family of instruments. I'm going to close the vihuela section. I'm going to play a couple pieces on a more modern guitar after this, but I'm going to play two song arrangements by Luis Milan. The first is a romances setting. We don't have the romances song form anymore, at least right now. It was usually about hour and a half sung epic poem that was accompanied by a kind of short, repeated chordal accompaniment. The only thing I can really think of that comes close is maybe Alice's Restaurant. But that's only 15 minutes long. This was like an hour and a half. Or maybe Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway times 30. The other is the last piece in this section is a rock and roll little dance song, Fala y mi amor. The text is basically, if you love me, kill me. And I'll let you interpret that in context of your own life experience. Thank you for being here this evening, and huge thanks to Julia Brown for bringing me in. This last piece is Asturias, originally written for piano by Isaac Albéniz, but pretty much immediately liberated by guitar players. In fact, Francisco Tárrega, who wrote the previous tremolo piece, was the first to liberate it for the guitar. It's kind of fun that the two of them are friends and neighbors, and Tárrega was able to play a lot of his arrangements of Albéniz's piano music for the composer. And Albéniz later on felt that his music, worked a little bit better on guitar, which is, I like it on piano myself, but he felt that it worked a little bit better on guitar, which is good because if you do a Spotify or Apple Music search for Isaac Albéniz, 98% of what you'll find is guitar players.